what happened with the unfortunate incident of Sushant is it triggered people who are already just triggered, and I understand it, and I understand that this is some sort of, I wouldn't say misdirected, because a lot of these opinions are also coming from real issues people are facing and dealing with. It's not okay to disregard it as, oh, collective voice that's being illogical. No, there is, if something is completely and truly illogical, this is not that mass hysteria, is what I feel. My journey, hand on my heart, I can say my parents, my dad especially, has never called and asked for someone to help me. In fact, if anything, they did not help me. And I'm very thankful for it because the journey has been mine, the successes as well as the failures. And but I don't take away from what this Hasan surname brought. It brought a key to easily open the door. Opinions are one thing, threats that fall under the jurisdiction of criminal violation is completely separate. And there is no room for that against man or woman. Period.
Welcome to Speakeasy. My name is Rudrani, and I'll be in conversation with an actor who, besides being extremely talented, is also extremely honest, makes conversations always real and fun. Shruti,
Hi,
we've chatted for
Rudrani.
a while.
What a formal
Hi.
introduction. My goodness. Thank you so much.
I know that the film has had its own journey to come out today.
Yes.
So I think a sense of release, sort of a sense of relief at the release of Yara.
Honestly, Yara feels like a wonderful old lover that showed up in the pandemic. I always say that, like, oh, you're in town? Yeah, let's catch up.
Thanks.
It's a beautiful film, like in the sense that from the minute like I met Tigmanshu Sahni, he told me the story and everything. I was genuinely so excited about playing Sukanya, and then it kind of disappeared from my life, and now it's reappeared and it's coming out on, like, fortunate to have a release at a time like this where everybody's work is stuck and people get to see this, so it's kind of like weirdly wonderful.
Now with Tigmanshu is known to be more perceptive towards the characters that are female in his film. And even though the story might not revolve around them, he makes them so much more than your, the
Average.
typical average character that's just like either good or bad, finished, done. Were you skeptical at all, or was it because of Tigmanshu Dhullia that you thought that I am to have to be worried about this part of it at least, while the character might, like, the story might not revolve around my character?
That's a different vibe, isn't it? Like, because
Yeah.
we're still mastering the art of placing the woman well into the larger picture. And
Correct.
like you said, rightly so, is Tigmanshu sir has the ability to do that very gracefully and easily. I think what I found interesting about him and my conversations with him is I found him on one side to be extremely rooted, desi almost, like really rooted in the earth and very visceral in a very Indian way. And then on the other hand, he's just really liberal and open and progressive.
Yeah.
And this mix is so interesting and it shows in all of his films, even.
Yeah.
So to have a man like that handle a woman from the 70s as a character is even more interesting because, as you, I'm sure, are aware, the women in the 70s and early 80s were like way cooler than us. Like, way.
Yeah.
Like, well, like, be it, from superficial things like fashion and
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that.
from that to even just the gumption as a woman. And it was a very interesting time in history as well. And the so because before that the Western influence was all about getting rid of the British Empire, and then came this kind of Woodstock kind of re-Westernization, which was on our terms, and you saw
Yeah.
it in references of films that were paying homage to your good, bad, and uglies, and there was that whole milieu that was coming back in, where Indians were choosing to be a certain way, and the women were a big part of this narrative. So this character is really steeped in that. So that was very exciting for me, and she's it's not your standardized this box, this shape. fit in. It wasn't that. I learned a lot, genuinely learned so much working with him. And he has a very gently persuasive way of getting what he wants. And it's hand holding as well as like clarity, which is merciless. So it was really fun to work with him.
She the character that you're talking about here in the trailer has this. She very calmly tells her partner here that like almost like suggesting that it's not a good idea if like asking her, are you going to go back to him like your friend, or in that zone, and he almost seems listening to it. Now that itself I feel is great because most of the
What that
characters,
they're even having a discussion, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it feels like it's not just another character who's just like not involved in his affairs, like you're as invest and in the business, you're not just like someone's partner here. That I think aspect is also really attractive about it, isn't it?
Um, so when you see the film, it will make more sense as to why that is the tonality.
Yeah.
Um, I think even in life, the thing I love the most that doesn't even happen in life is communication and couples that communicate. I mean, half the time shit hits the fan because people aren't communicating,
Yes.
And so it's so nice that you picked on that because nobody else. See, this is why I like interviews with you because nobody else said that. That the
Yeah.
trailer has a shot of her saying, I don't think you should be doing this. It's a discussion. And in that one shot, you've also shown people the bond that these two share, that they can discuss in that way, and that she's giving him enough space as well. So all of that is really something that he was so good at putting into the story. Yeah.
Tell me, while all the boys go to the male bonding, were you missing that on the set? Did you hope that there were few more female characters to sort of
Please
just
tell
like,
me.
yeah, too much
Okay,
of adrenaline?
that's why when I was doing Devi, I wanted to throw a party because I was like
Yeah.
so much estrogen on one set because it's never like that. It's never like
Yeah.
that. Except
It's
like
not.
when you have the family scene, no, with the mummy, the bhabhi, and everyone has to be there. It's never like
Yeah,
that
that's
otherwise.
the only level of estrogen that you see.
Yeah, because even female ladies are like not that many. It's just you and your hairstylist and the costume team. It's never women on the set where women are hanging in lunch break and all has never happened that much.
Things out here haven't got better, right? There is so much more hate. The entire conversation that people are trying to have is getting lost in the chaos that is out there. Post Sushant's demise, you thought there is going to be a conversation in some direction, which probably something, maybe people are angsty, they will tell their points, but there is so much trolling happening to the probably the women in his women in his life. They've come out and said about what's happening to them. What do you make of this as an actor when you look at what's happening around you, and how how do you navigate through this chaos to make sense out of it?
So Rudrani, when the lockdown started, it was all about. I was talking about. I don't know if this sounds like presumptuous or like cocky of me to say, but I felt like it was going to come to some sort of head. Of course, I had no idea it was going to happen this way. But if you're not going to deal with stuff, it's going to manifest in other ways. And what I noticed from the beginning, which is why I was like, guys, be nice. Like almost like this crazy cheerleader for
Yeah.
positivity was because I was starting to sense this. My focus was to build a sort of almost auric shield of positivity around me because it's a very unpleasant situation to begin with. People are at home, not able to earn, and there is a pandemic and a fear of death, to put it very simply. You
Yeah.
know, will I die if I get COVID? Um, and I think what happened with the unfortunate incident of Sushant is it triggered people who are already just triggered, and I understand it. And I understand that this is some sort of, I wouldn't say misdirected because a lot of these opinions are also coming from real issues people are facing and dealing with, it's not okay to disregard it as, oh, collective voice that's being illogical. No, there is, if something is completely and truly illogical, this is not that mass hysteria is what I feel. I feel that somewhere people are relating to what he felt. People are themselves feeling like, I have struggled my whole life and I don't feel good right now. And that really was the trigger, I think. And these, I think what I learned from this is everybody needs to listen now to everything. Just listen. Like, listen and try and understand. Um, there are cyclic movements, I'm sure you've also seen, being someone who's on social media, where trolling kind of peaks and then dips, and then a new topic comes and peaks and dips. What is consistent is that people want to troll. And the question is why? And it stems from some lack of overarching conversation that's not happening, or some channels that they're not able to, could be speaking, not being able to speak at home, or not being able to speak to a therapist, or not being able to communicate with your friends, or creating online cliques, which bond in some sort of, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. So I don't think I can easily, I can't make anything of it right now, except that whether it's the complete movement behind the Black Lives Matter movement, or what happened in Tamil Nadu with Phoenix and Jairaj, like everything is starting to find that you are starting to find that people are talking about these things, all things. So we just have to listen.